I remember many years ago, even the person who was driving a cab was so happy. And all of a sudden, when that administration, Republican, came in, things started to fall down. The Enron scandal, all these mortgage scandals. Hey, that wasn't under Obama's administration. He's trying to get it back, and he's helping. You guys gotta get up and really, otherwise it's gonna be more difficult for your kids. I know for a fact, because I run a social service agency. For the first time for South India.
BJ, and we are very proud of them that they have endorsed the President Obama for the next 4 years. And I request Monica to come and say a few words to you. Thank you.
Brothers and sisters, it is the same way that I want to call you. Because when I heard what he said about community, and when we heard about that we are country, in this moment, you and me, we are brothers and sisters. Because this is our time. We need to be together because we need to win this election. I can see a lot of young people. What we're doing is for you, but you have to understand that you have to...
I just want to say, right now the time because there is a lot of people jobless, there is a lot of problems in a basic people life, and most of the people only stuck in a basic necessities, and the problem is that somebody else is enjoying that money. So basically I started this art protest on Wall Street, and my way is colors. My way is filmmaking. I'm basically a filmmaker and artist, and I'm doing my film which is coming on April, Rats on Wall Street, that based on 1929 Wall Street crash. And basically I'm doing the art protest.
People are here to commit. They will volunteer on the November 6th election. Raise your hands. Raise your hands. Thank you. Soon we are having the debate started, and I'm really once again grateful to you guys. You guys are here, and
everybody, and welcome. So this is the final debate, and I want to thank Aga and Shazia for all the work that they do to make this plaza such a wonderful success. I see we have New York for Obama table over here. 32 BJ is here. We love 32 BJ. Let's hear it. 32 BJ. 32 BJ. 32 BJ. All right. 32 BJ is a great, great union and great supporters of the president. And we look forward tonight to having, I'm a Democrat, so I'm going to say it. I look forward to having a Barack Obama win tonight. All right. All right, Obama. All right. And this is the final one. And 2 weeks from today, from tomorrow actually, is going to be the election. So, and there's a real difference between Obama and Romney, and America is going to have a choice. And I'm glad to see 32 BJ is here, as well as other people from my Democratic club who are going down to the key states, to Pennsylvania, to Ohio, to Florida, to help the president, because we cannot take anything for granted. So if you have some time to...
Before our very eyes. I'd like to hear each of you give your thoughts on that. Governor Romney, you won the toss. You go first.
Thank you, Bob, and thank you for agreeing to moderate this debate this evening. Thank you to Lynn University.
I immediately made sure that, number one, we did everything we could to secure those Americans who were still in harm's way. Number two, that we would investigate exactly what happened. And number three, most importantly, that we would go after those who killed Americans and we would bring them to justice. And that's exactly what we're going to do. But I think it's important to step back and think about what happened in Libya. And keep in mind that
is a pathway to get the Muslim world to be able to reject extremism on its own. We ensure that we go after the people who are leaders of these various anti-American groups and these jihadists.
But what we can't do is to simply suggest that, as Governor, your suggestion was that Libyans stand with us. But we did so in a careful, thoughtful way, making certain that we knew who we were dealing with, that those forces of moderation on the ground were ones that we could work with, And we have to take the same kind of steady, thoughtful leadership when it comes to Syria. That's exactly what we're doing.
Governor, can I just ask you, would you go beyond what the administration would do? Like, for example, would you...
Involved in Syria. I don't think there's a necessity to put our military in Syria at this stage, and I don't anticipate that in the future. As I indicated, our objectives are to replace Assad and to have in place a new, and they have the arms necessary to defend themselves, but also to remove Assad. But I do not want to see a military involvement on the part of our troops. And this isn't going to be necessary. We have, with our partners in the region, we have sufficient resources to support those groups. But look, this has been going on for a year. This should have been a time for American leadership. We should have taken a leading role, not militarily, but a leading role, organization parties. As you hear from intelligence sources even today, the insurgents are highly disparate. They haven't come together. They haven't formed a unity group, a council of some kind. That needs to happen. America can help that happen. And we need to make sure they have the arms they need to carry out the very important role, which is getting rid of Assad.
Can we get a quick response, Mr. President? Because I want to...
I'll be very quick. What you just heard Governor Romney said is he doesn't have different ideas. And we get Assad out. That's the kind of leadership we've shown. That's the kind of leadership we'll continue to show.
May I ask you, you know, during the Egyptian turmoil, there came a point when you said it was time for President Mubarak to go. Some in your administration thought perhaps...
That John F. Kennedy... What I've also said is that now that you have a democratically elected government in Egypt, that they have to make sure that they take responsibility. Not only is Israel's security at stake, but our security is at stake if that unravels. They have to make sure that they're cooperating with us when it comes to counterterrorism. And we will help them with respect to developing their own economy, because ultimately what's going to make the Egyptian revolution successful for the people of Egypt, but also for the world, is if those young people who gathered there are seeing opportunities. Their aspirations are...
But I would just ask you, would you have stuck with Mubarak?
No, I believe we would have worked more aggressively with our friend and with other friends in the region to have them make the transition towards a more representative form of government, such that it didn't explode in the way it did. But once it exploded, I felt the same as the president did, which is these freedom voices in the streets of Egypt, where the people who were speaking of our principles, and the President Mubarak had done things which were unimaginable, and the idea of him crushing his people was not something that we could possibly support. Let me step back and talk about what are their lives and know they're going to have a bright and prosperous future and not be at war. That's our purpose. And the mantle of leadership for promoting the principles of peace has fallen to America. Of Iran, Ahmadinejad says that our debt makes us not a great country. That's a frightening thing. The former chief of state, the chief of the cuts to sequestration and budget cuts to the military would change that. We need to have strong allies. Our association and connects 42 allies and friends around the world. And finally, we have to stand by our principles. And if we're strong in each of those things, American influence will grow. But unfortunately, in nowhere in the world is America's influence greater today than it was 4 years ago. And that's because we need to promote those principles around the world. We recognize that there are places of conflict in the world. We want to end those conflicts to the extent humanly possible. But in order to be able to fulfill our role in the world, America must be strong. America must lead. And for that to happen, we have to strengthen our economy here at home. You can't have 23 million people struggling to get a job. You can't have an economy that over the last 3 years keeps slowing down its growth rate. You can't have kids going to college. Very unfortunate. I think also that pulling our missile defense program out of Poland in the way we did was also unfortunate in terms of, if you will, disrupting the relationship in some ways that existed between us. And then, of course, with regards to standing for our principles, when the students took to the streets in Tehran and the people there